Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome along to this week's Sofa Manager's Scottish Football Podcast. And on this week's show we have slightly less structure, but hopefully more chat, is my theory behind this week's show. So, some stories to tell this week. I'll be explaining why Stirling Albion were seeing double at the weekend. We'll also be discussing the Stuart Regan situation and what the SFA actually do in Scotland, or what they haven't been doing in Scotland over the recent time. And lots of interesting transfer news to talk about over deadline day, unusually for Scottish football. We had a similar, love triangle that, Chelsea and things and Borussia Dortmund had to deal with in Arsenal. So a slightly different scale, so we'll be talking about that. And, of course, our Ack Attack will be back. And we'll be explaining how we got on with our £900 accumulator last week. I'm sure you're all excited to hear about that. Anyway, joining me on this week's show, we have our Spanish football expert back. It is Darren Gibson.
Hello, Paul.
Nice to see you, Darren. Happy New Year. I
Good to be back.
I don't think we've heard you in 2018 yet. We missed you last week. We were talking about Wraith Rovers coming back on the boat from Leganés, was it?
The Canaries.
The Canaries.
Oh, Canaries.
I think they played Leganés or something. So it would have been a nice link. So welcome along, Darren.
Thank you.
How have you been over the last few?
Fine, busy, but it's good to be back.
And it is pub quiz captain himself and backward cap wearing man, John Brown. Hello, John.
Hello.
Up to much this weekend, footballing wise?
No, quite quiet.
A part-time fan doesn't even go to the football. Too busy at those quizzes at the churches for charity. How selfish of me.
Indeed.
Definitely.
And me, officially now the country's most ropey stadium announcer, and you'll hear why later. It is me, Paul Menzies. So, let's get straight to the footy. Right, so kind of first bit of news this week, and kind of much to, well, was it surprising? I don't know. Is it Stuart Regan? Is it Stuart Regan?
That guy.
Yes.
Yeah, that one.
Regan of the SFA has resigned. Not a great or convenient time for the SFA, but as far as I hear, he'd universally lost the entire support of the board that run things over there.
Pretty much. And the fans and any other affiliates.
To be honest, I've never felt the SFA have been that connected to the fans. No. It's felt because the national team has a very strong, very passionate support base who are very well organised. Tartan Army and their groups and things like that. And the SFA don't really seem to kind of give that a voice at all.
The opposite.
And we were discussing earlier, what do the SFA actually do? And we couldn't really fathom it out. There was a project going on at our school in the area to bring through young talent. I don't know if any of them are now professional footballers, truth be told.
Well, apart from Sibs.
Was he part of that programme?
Yeah, he was.
Programme. But the idea of that programme would be to generate international footballers. And as much as I appreciate Craig Sibbald and his average excellence, he's not an international footballer.
No.
Graham High has produced a number of great talents in its time. We were always inspired by Tam Scobie, who none of you'll know because he's not a great footballer. Although don't listen to my preview show at the start of the season where I did say he was a great footballer and he's not really panned out for Dundee United in the way that I might have hoped.
Well, you can listen to my part when I told you exactly how I felt.
Yes!
I was about to say that. I'm sure John said that.
I'm sure John will entitle it the Tam Scobie effect, along with the Gary Locke effect and anyone else who's rubbish. So to the Stuart Regan effect, did you ever like him, John?
No. Oh, he's hopeless. Along with him and Neil Doncaster, they've completely and utterly... What was left of Scottish football is an absolute rubble.
I know.
It's just a non-entity at the moment.
I must admit, Darren, I do not appreciate our national footballing bodies being run by Englishmen.
Yeah, that's true.
I think that's weird, and I think that's why we came up with a rubbish naming structure, Championship, League 1, League 2.
That's so racist.
What? It's passion, John. Braveheart. It's my national pride. But I think looking at what the SFA will be doing is they'll obviously try and encourage people at grassroots level. They'll then be looking at that kind of international pyramid as it comes through, and then obviously the international team. I think those are their kind of three main responsibilities. And I must admit, kind of looking at the three different levels, I don't really see what's been done in Scottish football, especially recently, to encourage, kids into the game or encourage kids to play the game. I think the big argument at the moment is, football's a very expensive thing to do.
It has an elitist structure to it now. Big clubs, big money, generally tend to absorb most of the kind of talent at a younger age, and they don't get the chance to play as much. Hard to say whether that's an SFA issue or not. It maybe is. I think it's more of a club issue. For the clubs not giving these guys a chance, or not greed, it's business, but you're not giving these guys a good enough chance to develop, and that's the biggest issue facing football in general.
Yeah. I mean, you look at football these days, it's about finding the next wonder kid and selling him for 6 or 7 figures.
Yep.
That's
you,
what
you
everyone's
turn
going
a
for.
That's
profit.
what it is these days, yeah.
You buy a dozen players, one of them will come good, and you sell them, and the amount of money you make on that sale covers your costs for those 12 duds.
Well, talking of the Falkirk Bairns, no, but I was speaking with some journalists actually at the game at the weekend, and we were kind of talking about. I was actually amazed to find out Cowdenbeath have an under-20s side.
What do they?
Near enough every team in Scotland do.
Oh, but
I'm sure Elgin might have one as well.
probably do. But I was surprised, and I think they're worse than like Kelty Juniors or something playing a similar league. But what we were talking about is the structures are now so different. Like the under-20s side is very separate, I think, from the first team. So if you lose a guy from the first team, you're not really looking at the development path. You're not saying, right, we're going to lose this left back in a year's time. Let's focus our energy on this young lad. It's very much as if he's good enough, we may or may not bring him through. But more than likely, I think, Tony Gallagher would be a prime example of this at Falkirk.
Falkirk could have persisted with Tony for another 2 or 3 years and got him in the first team, or you can cash in 200 grand and it doesn't matter if he's a success or failure. You've got 200 grand from him and it's not your problem.
It was never an intention to bring him in the first team.
No,
We barely saw him.
not for another year or two. He was never going to be ready for first team football. He was too lightweight. He was too nervous on the park when you watched him. Granted, 1 or 2 will come in. Kingsley was a prime example, who came in, settled really quite quick. Got Arfield when he came in, even McCarthy and MacArthur at Hamilton. You could give all the kind of well documented examples. It's just normal. This is normal.
Well, my concern now is that the kind of way games are going, we're kind of losing kids to the sport almost. I don't think as many youngsters are going to games on a Saturday. I don't think any kids are really interested in the national team anymore.
No, but that's a generational issue for we never qualified, so we don't know what it's like.
That's
the
an
last
SFA
time
thing.
Scotland actually done something, like even in our generation, we've not really had much in recent times. Like 98
we
probably
were
was the
very
last
young when
time
I had
that
a
something actually
football
happened.
that was in the shed for a while. I remember it because it had that, was it the Uruguayan or Paraguayan flag, which I thought was nice because it had a wee smiley sun on it. And I was into Teletubbies at the time, so
The Argentinian
it related
flag.
very well.
Nice link.
Yeah, it was. SFA, rebrand your logo to the Teletubbies smiling sun. That's my tip. It's not a million miles off. It's a happy lion, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that. I do think they should be doing more to kind of engage the youngsters, make it more exciting. But then, I think to make it more exciting, you have to look at things structurally, and that's probably an SPFL issue.
About both. This is the conflicting thing now between 2 entities
I know.
that really don't necessarily need to coincide. There's no point. Why do you have to have a separate league body which is effectively overarched by the SFA?
Right.
It's stupid.
So do you
And it
think,
used to be worse because you used to have the SFL
and then
and the SPL and the SFA.
yes,
So at least we're down to 2.
and hopefully we can get down to 1. Fingers crossed.
If Doncaster buggers off, probably.
I think it's in everyone's best interest.
It is, it's
if we
cheaper
come
as
together.
well.
Might get there in the end.
Well, at least if we amalgamated, Doncaster could then run the full shebang. Or would you
No.
rather the rumours of Leanne
John's like,
Dempster
no.
at this point?
Boot him as well. I wouldn't have Leanne Dempster
Would
either.
you not?
I'd be going straight for Barry Hearn.
Who's Barry Hare?
Barry Hearn's a revolutionary for darts and snooker, amongst other sports.
But then the argument is we've been down the route of taking people from other sports in the past.
But look what he's done for those sports. And look what he's managed to turn them into. They are worth a fortune and they are watched by millions.
Was he responsible for the podium woman decision in the week?
I don't know.
should have more of that. Whatever happened to cheerleaders at Scottish football games? Last time I saw them, I think was Kilmarnock
I was
in
about to
the
say
playoffs.
Kilmarnock, yeah.
Darren would remember that. Darren would remember that. I'm not surprised there. The Pervo Vision's acting well, I see. Falkirk used to have them, though.
I had them at Brockville for a while.
I'm sure I saw some somewhere on a really cold day, and you didn't think, wow, attractive cheerleaders. You thought, I feel really bad for these poor girls.
It was so awkward though.
Was it though?
But they're like, I don't know, how old would they be? Like,
would they be doing? Well,
let's say they're of teenage age.
They would have been.
Guys in their mid-age.
Yeah, that's true. I think the Kilmarnock girls were quite young, which was maybe.
They were young.
It's beyond creepy.
But then they get to be part of the game. You know, it's a community thing again.
Yeah.
There's not many other things for cheerleaders to do in Scotland, frankly. I did see them at the
wouldn't say so.
Stirling Rocks or something basketball game, which is more ideal because it's an indoor sport.
American, yeah, leave it.
Yeah.
Ice hockey. Had you get them ice hockey?
I've never been to
You
an
go all the
ice hockey
time, don't
game.
you?
Well, no, I'm the wrong man for that. Pucker up, girls, it's time for the cheerleaders. That'd be a good announcing spiel. Anyway, I feel we're getting off topic and massively politically incorrect. Are you sad about the podium girls in the darts, actually?
God, I have no idea.
I'm a bit sad also.
I think...
I never even noticed.
No, I do think it's quite a good thing.
So what?
Well, no, but...
I'm so... If you go to the darts,
Maybe
you are
not
so
the darts, yeah, the darts are not. But I
polluted,
think,
you have no idea what's going on in life.
yeah.
You
I
just
don't
start a
think,
chant.
yeah, I don't think it's much for the darts, but for the racing and that, I think it was quite a good thing.
I've got my big zoom lens for the motorsport Darren, you know I am. Hi! You know what, at Knockhill for the British touring cars. Half the pictures I took were of grid girls. Very good. Very, very good.
Yeah.
They'll be back though. That's not a Barry Hearn thing.
They'll be back, there's no worries about that.
You have to... That's the kind of guy you have to go and speak to. How to revolutionise.
The darts, okay, yeah.
The darts guy.
John's back on point, good man.
Yeah. I'm bringing it back.
We got there.
I'm reeling it in. I don't know if he's done for big fishing, but...
Well, I mean, I think that could be quite interesting. I'd like to see what he would bring to the table as far as changes were concerned and make us a bit more relevant in the world of kind of 4-league football it is now, isn't it?
Unfortunately,
aye.
aye.
The Champions League.
Yep.
So that's a shame. We still have the ongoing management situation.
Who
Nobody
cares?
wthink to play these friendlies at the moment either.
Yeah, I can see... They're having a manager in by about the beginning of March.
Mm-hmm.
I think you might see some cancellations.
The big
No one wants them. Like,
The big rumour this week was after Steve Clark's performance for Kilmarnock, he's been linked to the job now.
quite right.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent performance with Kilmarnock at the weekend.
Definitely.
So Celtic have not managed to beat their unbeaten run again, coming to an end slightly quicker than the last one did. Excellent goal from Youssef Malumbo, and yes!
He was outstanding, actually.
He's a great player.
Oh yeah, you could see his like Premier League class coming through in that game.
Well.
No, you could. I think you could.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
Aye.
There's a story of him, he nearly moved to Bordeaux
Did he?
in the January window.
That's that would have been the wrong decision. Playing like. Well, I think we're very lucky to have him. While we do probably want to go in the summer to somewhere, but it's a platform for him. Fair dues. Lot of complaints about the artificial surface.
I watched all of the game.
I watched it too.
The Boyata one, I couldn't figure out what he had done. I don't know what the injury was. I think it's maybe his hamstring.
Right.
It was hard to kind of say if it was
Yeah.
the artificial surface that had done it.
Mm-hmm.
And the IR one, he went up for the header and he landed awkwardly. And I think it was a lot of kind of the entire body weight on his Achilles.
Yeah. I think.
Aya.
You see what I'm saying?
I think either surface that he probably would have got that injury. To be honest.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered if that had been a frozen pitch, or not a frozen pitch, but a really hard surface.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have mattered if it had been
Yeah.
plastic or real grass. It would have done the same damage. The Boyata one, I don't know what happened. I think he's just pulled up, and that happens in general. The pitching at Kilmarnock looked dreadful for passing. And stuff like that.
it was a bad.
Very
pitch,
dry, but I think that was intentional.
Yes.
I think there was some dodgy play going on there.
Well, in the past, they have intentionally narrowed the pitch and things for certain teams coming as well. So maybe a bit of hijinkery there.
And it worked.
I know they're playing so well.
Oh,
I think they've pushed themselves now into the top 6 as well. With
I know, it's disgusting.
So pleased about that.
Superb.
It's funny they've kind of pushed out Motherwell, who've kind of been on the downward trend. But then it's funny to see, the likes of Partick Thistle, finishing in the top 6 last season and now battling for relegation. So you never know where you're going to end up. But of course, for Celtic this week was new defender, Hendry.
It was a strange one. They ended up with Hendry and Near Beaton at centre back.
I think Beaton made the mistake for the goal. He was just
he lost his man, completely and utterly lost it. You're thinking, that's dangerous. It's a mediocre at best centre back pairing.
I mean, the interesting thing about Hendry was this massive love triangle that was kicked off in the 11th hour.
Deadline day.
In deadline day, because my brother was like, Scott Bain's going to Celtic. I was like, no, that's impossible. He's on loan at Hibs.
Yeah.
And who knows who concocted? I think this is the most bizarre transfer activity I've ever seen.
Certainly in a while.
Especially because it was last minute.
And Bain will be kissing his lucky stars that he's managed. Because what he said was, I can't believe I was on the bench against Celtic last week, and now I'm at Celtic. So you're going to be on the bench at Celtic for considerable time to come. So they managed to get Bain. Dundee reluctantly gave away Hendry.
And
Scott Allen,
in return for Simon Murray.
Which is a raw deal.
Well, I'm a fan of Simon Murray.
Nope.
But it was pointed out to me that Simon Murray scored the majority of his goals in the Betfred Cup. Yes. Weirdly, I'm a fan of players that have played well in the Betfred Cup. We'll come to that a bit later. Not necessarily good footballers. And they've kind of let go of one of the more creative midfielders for a striker that can score goals, but then he can't score goals without a creative midfielder. So
that's
you're
right.
kind of in a
catch-22.
It is very much a catch-22. So who do you think it was good business for?
Hibs.
Probably Hibs.
Hibernian, I think getting Scott Allen was a good deal for them.
Well, he played well against Rangers at the weekend. He looked like a man, reignited and brought back to life.
He's back to playing in a system in a club that suits him. He's tried it elsewhere and it's never worked for him. He never settled in Celtic. They go back down south to Rotherham.
Yeah, it didn't really pan out there.
For a period, dreadful. Dundee never got the chance because he's not the kind of player that's ready for a scrap at the bottom of the league.
No.
He's a good player, a flair player that you need up front. With John McGinn sitting behind him. It'll be fantastic at Hibs, no question.
I think he'll do a good job there. Yeah.
Certainly wasn't holding back on the celebrations at Ibrox. No. Good on you, Scott. Stick it to them. Anyway, sorry.
After Aberdeen bottled it at Ibrox again.
Oh, Aberdeen are absolutely pants. Against the big teams, at least. But, I know a lot of Rangers fans are like, he's an absolute snake.
It's funny, though.
But absolutely brilliant. 50,000 people, a raucous atmosphere. We have Walter Smith, we have Paul Gascoigne, and you lose 2-1.
I know.
Sorry. I don't think we have major Rangers fans tune in here anyway, so I'm sure we're fine.
We just destroyed half our audience base, so that's fine.
Well, 10 of them. Were you pleased to see Paul Gascoigne visit back at the weekend, Darren?
Well, yeah, it's for Rangers, it's a
I know
good
you're a
thing,
big fan of the
also.
McCoist Gascoigne Chronicles.
I do, I quite like that.
So many stories. So many stories.
But yeah, I was always a big fan of him, so it's a nice touch, I suppose. But as you say, obviously after that scoreline, it takes it away a wee bit, I suppose. But
so Walter Smith, there's a new Scottish football programme on STV, which is terrible. I would argue it's probably worse than this podcast. But they were interviewing Walter Smith on it. And
were they?
He's looking pretty trim. I don't know if he's trying to get back in the team or what the deal is there. But I honestly I think Walter Smith's probably the best manager Scotland's ever produced. I rate him higher than Alex Ferguson, in my mind.
Do you want to reconsider that?
No, I prefer Walter Smith. Mind you, Alex Ferguson did win the 83 Cup with Aberdeen, and I'm quite a big Aberdeen fan.
Never knew that.
I was watching a video middle of the week. I think it was Lee Sharp that used to play with Man United. Mm-hmm. Have you seen this video clip?
Probably.
He was speaking about the time Cantona kicked a fan.
Crystal Palace fan. Sure, it was
Leeds or something like that.
It was Leeds or Palace. I
Leeds,
can't remember.
maybe,
I think it was Leeds. But they drew the game 1 each. And they were saying, usually if we drew the game 1 each, we'd give the manager 5 minutes to kind of simmer down before he'd go through it as an absolute rollickers. So, and you need to watch the video because he tells it really, really well. So Cantona does his thing, and there are like right, lads, straight back to the dressing room. This is going to be freaking hilarious. Doesn't use those words. So they're high-fiving, slapping each other in the ass, and like, let's get back to the dressing room, see what he does. So get back to the dressing room, and I think it's Brian Robson, who's the captain. It's just like, right, lads, just keep your head down. Right, you don't want to make eye contact when he's on at this, and but this is going to be really funny. So we get their head down, they're like, Robson, you're a piece of bleep, bleep, bleep. Shut up. My granny can run faster than you. And he turns to Eric, and they're like, oh, what's he going to say? What's he saying? Eric, you can't be doing stuff like that. That's like all he says to him. So I'll link the video down in the kind of video description or Mixcloud description. You should watch it because it's really funny. But no, I thought that was really good. But Rangers, maybe a bit at ease after the Fraserburgh game midweek.
Yeah, just done the job there. It was they didn't. It was just in that game. I've seen the highlights and things, and I've seen bits of it. I didn't see the full game, but it was just like a professional performance by Rangers. They've done the job, but as you say, going from that to the Hibs game would have been a bit of a reality check for them.
Yeah.
But my biggest disappointment there was that obviously they brought in these new signings, Rangers, but the one time that they had to prove to actually say, right, okay, we're actually going the right direction now, they actually messed up a wee bit.
Because they're always going to beat Aberdeen, of course. So that's not really a test.
I thought Cummins might have started, but I don't think he was fully fit.
I wonder if that was a mental thing, whether they didn't start him against Hibs. I'm not sure.
And Morelos obviously not doing anything really.
I tell you, Windass looked a bit off.
Windass,
was unlike, he missed a few good chances. He's been playing well.
And a hat-trick during the week too.
Over the last few weeks. He was the only one that looked interested at Fraserburgh.
Yeah.
I think so. It was a bit unusual. He was off his game. Quite a good free kick from Sean Goss.
Seems
to be getting in the team
that was
quite
good,
a lot.
Only highlight for Rangers, really.
Pretty much. But, it was an excellent goal. Have you seen the John McGinn goal, John?
I've seen it, yeah.
John McGinn. I'll talk to Darren because he has seen it. What an excellent goal.
It was really good, yeah.
Must admit, I've never really rated John McGinn that highly.
Really good.
I think he's getting to a good high level.
We'll see if he can push for an Old Firm move sometime soon.
That's what he'll be aiming for. Yeah.
He's a new Scott Brown. That's his kind of level eventually.
Making good progress.
Aye, absolutely. So well done, Hibs. You've pegged back Rangers and pinched Aberdeen back to second until they get beat by them again. Anyway, we'll hopefully build up 6 points by then, and it'll be all right.
I only need to do it once more. So
exactly, it's fine. So Hibs continue their kind of march to. It's a pretty safe 4th at the moment.
Yes. Is that Europe just? Depends on who wins the Scottish Cup.
Probably.
Yeah.
So Europe.
Probably. So but I know a lot of the Rangers fans were like advertising, like, come to Rangers, get the chance to play in the Europa League next year. I was like, simmer down. You couldn't beat Progress Niederkorn, let alone...
Still the Europa League.
To be fair, no one gets past the first qualifying round in Scottish football. So no, it's a good victory for Hibs. Rangers will be very disappointed, but I'm sure they'll rectify it.
Probably.
Doesn't help Murty's cause if he wants this job on a full-time basis.
Yeah, that was another thing. That was Murty's first real bad defeat in terms of against the big teams, because he's had a good record against them, I think. So.
Do you think he'll get it?
No.
I'm not asking you.
No, I'd agree with John, to be honest. No, I don't think he will.
I don't know who else they're going to go for. I really don't.
That's the only thing.
Michael O'Neill.
I
don't know.
No, I'm not sure.
I think it'd be really hard to turn down Scotland and then go there. So maybe, who knows? John's right on everything else and I'm wrong. So whatever. Kind of elsewhere in the league, Aberdeen, pretty routine victory over Hamilton. Hearts getting a controversial win over St Johnstone. Keep plugging away with some good results. Kind of bounce back after a meh draw with Motherwell last week. They are slipping and sliding down the league. Only a draw with, I think, Partick Thistle today, was it?
Yeah, it was, yeah.
2 each.
2 each.
One each, I'm sure.
One each,
yeah. One each, yeah.
So, but then a thumping victory for Ross County against
Dundee. Yeah, that's worrying times for Dundee.
Ross
I'm not
County,
sure, did Murray play in that game, actually?
Yes, he did.
Oh, did he?
Yes,
right.
he did.
Yeah. But
Ross
obviously
County
losing a couple of players to Celtic, so obviously had a bit of an impact there.
Not looking good. I know Neil McCann was very miffed at the lateness of the deal and they couldn't bring a centre back in.
Yeah.
But, that deal was always going to go through. We kind of knew that. And, Dundee is left with a kind of weird team now in that there was lots of guys playing well at the start of the season. In that, Sophie and Musa got a hat-trick. Hasn't really scored since, I don't think.
That was Betfred Cup as well. Really good performance.
people like
El Bakhtoui.
El Bakhtawi's gone off the
yeah.
charts, just totally disappeared, and they still got I still rate the midfielder O'Hara and things like that, but he can't win games by himself.
No. I think it's quite worrying times for Dundee, actually.
Well, we saw them midweek in the Development League.
All right, yeah.
So it won't be a weekly feature because it's not on every week. But John and I are committed football fans, and often Darren as well. But
Yeah.
You didn't miss much, Darren. It was 0 degrees Celsius. Everyone was freezing. There was about 20 people there.
All right.
And I announced one of the
What was the
subs
score?
as, 2-0.
2-0.
Nah, go beat Darren.
2-0.
I noticed the guy that scored, Kedwin Scott, is actually a new signing.
The tiny wee guy.
Yeah, no. What is he the guy that came on?
Can't remember if he scored. He was like, I think he was number 17. He is literally the shortest player I've ever seen, and the thinnest. He looked about 4 years old.
Have that wee boy Laverty, who's like, is this boy an adult?
It was the same principle. I was like, Jesus.
Oh no, in front of 20 people in 0 degrees at the Falkirk Stadium, with me being pretty ropey with my announcing yet again.
Sounds a good night.
We did see, however, two of Dundee's probably more creative midfielders. It was Rory Deacon and Randy Walters.
Right.
Now, if you've been listening to the podcast throughout the year, we were quite excited by the arrival of Randy Walters coming in from Dutch team. I want to say NEC Breda, I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I think it's a red and yellow logo.
Probably.
That's our quiz next week, is guess the
Like,
team by the
guess the
nation
logo.
and the colours.
mid-table Dutch clubs.
Something like that. He came in quite highly rated, played excellently. They were on BT Sport, which I'm guessing must have been a Dundee derby in the Betfred Cup.
It was a Dundee derby.
Uh,
At Dens.
we rated him very highly, and he's not really featured in the first team since. But I couldn't sing his praises any higher, Dan.
I absolutely stormed it. Deacon was really quiet, but Walters was all over it.
Oh, he was skillful. He was pacey. He was, driving. He was like just so much confidence.
Yeah.
And you sometimes see first team players in that league kind of not care about it.
Rory Light.
That's true.
Yeah, well, aye. So he showed really, really good attitude, and I think I'm in love with him. I really do. I rate him that highly, and he'll of course now leave in the summer.
Oh yeah,
Contrary
definitely.
to my
Now you said
comment.
that.
Absolutely.
Restraining order.
Getting Randy with Randy. Podcast title number 1. Not getting Randy in Dundee. So I don't understand why someone like him's not playing. But yeah, Neil McCann, I think, has an interesting attitude during bad times. Towards the end of last season, he was like, right, that was my fault. He did the kind of same today, and I'm like, is that the right way to try and bring things forward? I'm not so sure.
There's too much pressure on him. It's not really his fault that these players are underperforming. I don't know. I don't see enough of Dundee to comment.
Nobody does.
Really.
Nobody does. When I look on Instagram for the pictures to take, they're always the low res stuff.
Oh,
So you
right,
know
yeah.
that someone's just been there with their camera phone, like nobody's actually bothered
Taking
to
snaps.
That's just Dundee.
rock it. Well, true, but the fans were not sounding happy after a big 4-1 defeat to Owen Coyle's Ross County.
Who themselves are rubbish.
Yes,
Yeah.
they have a worse record than when Jim McIntyre
Mhm.
was with them. Jim McIntyre? Oh
Yep.
yeah,
Yeah.
I get Jim McIntyre and Alan Archibald mixed up quite easily.
Oh, right,
Sorry
okay.
about that. So you look at, we've had 2 Premier League managers in the league, Steve Clarke, Owen Coyle. One's gone one way and one's gone the other.
Mhm.
So, Ross County invested a little bit of money in the January window into some risky players, I would say, not dead cert talents.
Yeah, it's a curious one. They went down a route that a kind of struggling, panicking Premiership team would do in signing a big name, which is David Ngog has underperformed almost consistently for a good 5 or 6 years. He's just continually slipped down and down and down. Ross County's probably his last chance to even salvage credibility.
Forgot to check if he was playing at the weekend. Like,
He was.
starting
He was, aye.
lineup, starting lineup. Yeah.
Well, he scored, but he had a couple of interesting shots,
Ah, right. Yeah.
which is not really what you're after.
They signed someone else, I'm sure, off a Premier League background.
The Eagle's not coming over the window. Chris Eagles,
Chris Eagles is certainly one of them.
former
who's-
trickster.
There's another one that's kind of not brilliant. It's a bit underwhelming.
We'll see how they get on.
To be honest, I think they're going to get relegated.
It's very much between them and Partick Thistle at the moment. Hamilton, with losing a few faces and have come off a bad couple of weeks,
I think Hamilton are struggling too. I think they're in free fall too.
They're always
Plus,
struggling.
well, yeah, I know they always are.
They
They always usually
find a
turn
way,
it
that's
around
the
somehow.
thing, like, it's
Yeah.
like the Barton. You just know that they're going to pick up a few results as well.
They've
Like,
lost a couple of, well, obviously they've lost a few games lately, but they've also lost a couple of good players. So,
Namely, the Italian boy, whose name's eluded me.
Donati.
Massimo Damati.
Yeah.
Over the January window, they decided, nah, no more.
Is that right? I don't
Yeah.
know.
fair play.
He's gone. Unfortunately. Another banterous name of Scottish football. So yeah, the relegation kind of fight's certainly hotting up. Elsewhere in the league, it's mainly just that fight for second, really, isn't it?
Fight for second, fight for top six, fight for the
Yeah,
relegation.
aye.
For once, there's actually a lot of things going on in that league.
There is actually. I would love to see Kilmarnock get top six. I think they deserve it this
No,
year.
I think they do. Yeah.
Nah.
Motherwell, she buzz off. Motherwell have been in free fall, and they're kind of showing resurgence with some of their new signings. Like Chief J scored quite a good goal.
Yeah, I was quite
there
impressed
the
with that
weekend.
goal, actually.
And the boy Curtis Main seems to be quite good as well. Scored a few disallowed goals.
Is that right?
Interesting fact. Watching it was the Barclays Premier League. You know the highlights you just see on Sky Sports.
Highlight
It was the
package.
best own goals.
All right.
I'm sure
Okay.
you tell some of the top own goal scorers. Do you know how many own goals Jamie Carragher has scored?
Oh, he scored loads, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
10.
Was it 10?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Richard Dunn had like 15. And I was like, what?
No, I remember him. He always, it was like every second week he had
But,
another.
like, some of them were good goals, and you've gone, what are you doing? Like, are you deliberately? I was like,
he wants to be known as for that.
well, I need to look up his stats and see whether he's actually scored more own goals than he has
Goals.
positive goals. I
Yeah.
don't even know how to phrase it. So that was very interesting. Elsewhere in the lower leagues were some championship action at the weekend. Teams doing universally badly. Falkirk got comprehensively thumped at home to Livingston.
Yep.
Good victory for them. St Mirren keep ticking over.
When I win the league.
Another
They got
victory, yeah.
as well. So they look really good for winning the
Yeah.
league now. To be
I
honest,
think
Aye.
they've pretty much secured that now, yeah.
14 ahead.
yeah.
And United on the ropes. Nah.
How did
So-
Dundee? Well, the big news about Dundee United was their chairman resigned,
Resigning.
Thompson,
Mm.
who I thought was immortal and would remain there forever.
Nah, he's nothing like his father. That's the
No.
biggest issue there.
His father wasn't the manager that was there for donkeys, wasn't it?
No, it was Jim McLean.
Jim McLean, right? Okay.
No, his father was Eddie Thompson, who
Right.
would have pumped his last penny into that club.
Mm-hmm.
Stephen Thompson will just no debt.
Mm.
I think that's where Dundee United are going to struggle over the next couple of years. That I think there's a lot of outgoings, a lot of cash outflows.
Mm-hmm.
There's not enough coming in
Mm.
to keep it afloat, to keep it a going concern. So I'd be worried if I were them.
Well, the thing they were talking about the weekend is the potential of a Dundee United playoff.
All right.
Which is
you know,
possible.
Which
you
is
know.
very possible at the moment. yeah.
It's absolutely. Their game postponed against Inverness Calais for just a waterlogged pitch. That's an unusual thing in this day and age.
It did frustrate me that though, because 2 games were postponed in the Championship, but then League 1 and League 2 games, all of them went ahead. Which, I understand, obviously, geography in certain places are going to be worse than others, but still, to have 2 games off in the Championship is pretty bad.
Barton, though. And the game was played at Morton.
Yeah,
so
I was talking about that to my friend the other day there, yeah.
pretty much the same deal. Speaking of League 2, though, Dan, I'm, of course, lucky enough to be the Stirling Albion game this
The
weekend.
big game of the
Big
weekend.
game. You know what it actually was? It was 4th v
You had
5th.
goals, yeah.
Yes, but not the stats as well. 4th v 5th, both on 33 points. So this was a real crunch tie for the playoffs, as you can imagine. I was drafted in last minute to do the announcing, and I made 1 or 2 blunders, shall we say. The thing you need to know, right? Stadium announcing is actually a very difficult thing because you do not watch a football match in the relaxed, casual manner that a football fan would. You're not interested in what's going on. You're looking to see if there's a goal and if there's anyone getting off the bench. Those are your only 2 concerns. So, of course, in the second half, we get the subs coming on. I'm looking through my binoculars because I'm at the other side of the pitch.
All right, yeah.
All the fans are on the side of the pitch to the bench.
Uh-huh.
So I'm looking through, I'm like, and my vision's not 20/20. I sit here with my big glasses on, just like, whoa. So it's not 20/20 at best. So I'm looking through the binoculars, trying to see who it is. I'm like, this looks like number 15. So I'm like, coming on is number 15, Declan McCarthy, for someone else. A few minutes later, the lads in the press box are like, sure it was 15 that came on? I'm pretty sure it was 15 that came on. We've got 16 up here on the BBC stats. It was 16 Declan Byrne. That's all right. Things happen.
Yeah.
You know, nobody really cared. Nobody really reacted. But of course, Elgin are 3-0 down at this point.
Right, yeah.
So they're needing some kind of salvation, something to kind of chirp them up a little bit. So what they decide to do is, of course, bring in the actual number 15, Declan McCarthy. And I don't know whether they're trolling me at this point, because I think there's every chance that this guy wasn't going to come on, and they've decided, let's take him on. So I'm like, oh no. And I can see this time it's definitely number 15. I'm like, you know, coming off as coming on as 15 Declan McHardy. And the biggest cheer the Stirling Albion fans for the entire afternoon just going, way! I'm like, oh no. Absolutely brutal. So very, very sorry to Stirling Albion fans if you heard that. And what was otherwise a very, very good game for the Stirling Albion, winning 3-1.
Yeah.
I was very, very impressed.
Darren Smith getting any goals?
Yes, he got 2.
Did he? Yeah.
He's the highest scoring player.
I was about to say, he does score a lot of goals.
Highest scoring player in the Scottish leagues. Over 20 now. So I'm amazed that she actually kept him over the January kind of transfer window. And I know we were speaking earlier, Darren Barr made his debut for Stirling Albion. What a strange career he's had. Where was he before, John?
Morton.
Morton?
He was Morton. He was a youth coach / part-time player. I think I don't know if he was anywhere in between. Now he's found himself at Stirling, which is an interesting move. He must live local after he played for Falkirk and that as well. Played for Hearts. Played for Dumbarton, which was really weird as well.
Well, he did Instagram post at the weekend on the Sofa Manager Instagram. It was a picture of him essentially winning the Scottish Cup for Hearts, which is obviously a very, very memorable moment for anybody.
Yeah.
And a Scotland international cap, so you know it's
it's hard to say whether the guy's been successful or not in his career, because he has achieved quite a lot.
Yeah, I think he has.
Not many people get an international cap for Scotland
Or win the Scottish Cup.
No, that's very true.
He's
always been pretty much based in Scotland, didn't he?
Yeah.
Did he go down to England for a wee while, I think? Yeah.
I can't remember him ever going down to England.
No,
I don't think he
spent most of the time up here. I cannot remember his period between Hearts and Dumbarton, if he was still kicking about up here or where he was. He certainly went from Dumbarton to Morton, which was a step up, but then he did get the
development manager
deal. And then I don't know what's happened at Morton. I don't know if they're also scrapping their under-20s. I have a funny feeling they are.
Probably.
So now he's moved to Stirling, who, if the Forth Valley Academy keeps on going, he'll probably be a part of that, even without Falkirk putting the money in.
I believe that's now not continuing. So
Also, the whole Forth Valley's winding up.
Yeah, pretty much.
Fair enough.
That's what I heard that. Darren Barr stats: Falkirk, Forfar, Hearts, Kilmarnock, Ross County, Dumbarton, Greenock. Making his most appearances for Falkirk.
Well over 100.
Yeah, 146, 5 goals. Don't know how many own goals. I think that's something to
Not too many.
He certainly showed up the Stirling defence, who've had issues in previous weeks. But, must say, mightily impressed by Elgin in the first half. Try to get their strikers running in behind and try to play, nice balls along the floor, kind of through the back of the defence, which I've very rarely seen a Scottish football team try to do. It's very lump it and hope, but this was much more precise. However, they couldn't finish, and when it came to the vital pass, they always kind of flunked it.
Right.
So not quite.
It's still Scottish football.
Yeah.
Good effort.
Yeah, still very much Scottish football. The right philosophy, not the talent. So they'll be a bit miffed. I know elsewhere, I think Peterhead and Montrose played.
1-0 to Montrose, I think.
1-0 to Montrose. So they kind of extend their lead at the top. Peterhead will be miffed with that, at home.
Yeah. Game in hand, I'm sure, Peterhead.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Well, they'll lead that. So League 2's looking quite interesting at the top. I think someone like Stirling Albion should really be in the playoffs in League 1.
They'll look a bigger club than maybe where they should be. But I think there's one or two like that.
544 at the weekend.
Pretty good.
Well,
it could be a lot better, but
there's quite a few kind of yo-yo teams between League 1 and 2. We sometimes see Stennismuir kind of progress up and kind of come back down.
Standing up and down. Forth are notorious. Stranraer, who I think they're in financial difficulty.
Not surprised.
Moment. Then you got the kind of top guys, Ayr and Wraith, who are two-way scrap now.
Well, Ayr lost at the weekend, I think, in League 1, didn't they?
At home to someone.
Welcome to the knowledgeable Scottish football podcast.
It was so shocking that it was like didn't even register. Like.
Yeah, I can't remember off the top of my head.
Yeah,
Wraith Rovers got a win, I know that.
Yep,
they did. Wraith Rovers look good for the top of the league now.
unfortunately.
Yeah, they are a team that you'd think should be in the Championship, to be honest.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, though, those those playoffs are going to be really, really interesting because if you have the likes of Ayr United, coming up against Dumbarton or
yeah.
Falkirk, we'll see how things go. I wouldn't be so sure.
No, I wouldn't be comfortable with it. They also have to play either second in the League One would need to play third in League One, while ninth would play fourth.
Well, we look at what happened last year.
I think.
It was an absolute shock that Wraith got punted out by Ayr last season.
Whom?
Wraith got punted out the playoffs.
No,
it wasn't
Brecon.
Ayr. No, it wasn't Brecon.
It was Brecon.
It was not Brecon.
I'm telling you right now, Wraith got relegated by Brecon.
I'm sure. Oh no. No,
They-
I'm sure the team that put out Wraith got beat in the final.
No, could Brecon beat Wraith?
I'm sure it was Brecon.
Yes.
Well, Brecon was all a very big surprise nonetheless. If that was the case, no one thought Wraith would be beaten by Brecon.
No.
They probably shouldn't have, looking at the record now.
That's
That was the other thing. We saw Darren Dawes at the Development League.
Oh,
game
right, yeah.
midweek. So he's obviously looking for some escapism and how to actually try and organise a football team. I think their strikers and things apparently have looked very isolated throughout the season. So difficult times for them. But no, it's all looking very interesting in the lower leagues.
Mm-hmm.
I would recommend you go down. Because, well, not down the leagues. No, I'm not. I'm not saying, well, Brecon should go down because there's more happiness for their fans in League One than there certainly is the Championship.
Absolutely.
But, looking at that, going to the Stirling game at the weekend versus the Falkirk game at the weekend, I can tell you I had a much better time at the Stirling game than I would have done at the Falkirk
Over
game.
Falkirk, yeah.
However, I was thinking about it the other day and that what is the best football game I've been to this season?
Mm-hmm.
And I've just realised John's going to have a very different answer because he's been at Newcastle games.
And others as well.
Yes, but certainly the best football game I've seen is still that Hearts Aberdeen game at Murrayfield, quality-wise.
Yeah, okay. That was pretty good. It was very different as well, which was...
Yeah, it was still 0-0.
Yeah.
But just the level of football...
But for a 0-0, it was good football.
Oh, the level of football was so far above.
Uh-huh.
And what I see at Falkirk versus what I see at League One or League Two teams, or even Highland League teams, judging by some of these highlights, isn't that different. Like I feel like Scottish football's kind of that exponential scale where it's like nothing, everything in one league.
In
Yeah.
the Premiership.
Yeah, pretty much.
And I suppose the playoffs kind of proved that in recent years too.
Yeah, they have. Yeah, that's a good point, Dan.
Mhm.
Nobody's really challenged at all.
There is definitely a difference there. I
Although
feel.
Hamilton and Dundee United were even Stevens last year. It was just a kind of fluke goal that won them that.
Yeah. Most times than not, though, it's the Premiership team.
Mm.
Only really been Hibs that have made an arse out.
Well, Rangers did as well.
No, they were trying to get up.
Oh, right, okay, right. When Hibs went down
Hibs
against
are the only team that's went
Yeah,
down.
well,
yeah.
Hamilton are the only team still to go up through that system, aren't they? So
Yes.
that feels like forever ago now.
This, I think it was one of the first seasons of that system being introduced as
Pretty
well.
sure it was. I like it, but it's not really working. See, again, we just need a format revamp.
The leagues are too tight and too small for it to really work.
Mm-hmm.
When you're sitting with fourth place in the Championship is also mid-table,
I know.
which is just bizarre, and yet you still have a chance to go up.
Yeah.
It's uncomfortable.
It was Alloa that beat Ayr.
Oh, that's right, yeah.
2-1.
Uh-huh.
I saw an away days picture actually of Wraith Rovers at Queen's Park, which is of course at Hampden. and you're
Hampden,
like,
yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh my god. I would actually really like to go just to
See what it's like, yeah. Yeah.
Like where they sit.
Aye, it would be really weird though, just having Hampden,
Empty.
kind of that empty. And typical fashion of the day, I would probably go. They play at Lesser Hampden or whatever. Okay. I'd actually. I was thinking about it. I would like to go to like a Rangers or Celtic game this year because I've never been. I've never done it,
Right. Yeah.
and I've never sat in like a 50, 60,000 strong crowd.
Mhm.
The closest I ever came to that was probably in Dublin.
Dublin, yeah. Uh-huh.
That was a great day.
That was really good. I enjoyed it.
Oh, and
yeah.
at Hampden, I suppose, as well for the cup
Yeah,
finals.
Scottish Cup.
We were always in the minority though, apart from the time I was in hospitality. Which I may or may not.
You never mentioned that.
It really wasn't the minority.
If you would like to see my position for that match, listeners, you should actually go to the Sofa Manager YouTube page, click on sort by most popular, and it's by far and away the most popular video on my YouTube. Well, if you go to John's YouTube channel, Sofa Manager JB, there's highlights which are equally as popular. And I'm furious they didn't put them on our page to drag more subscribers to our page. Interestingly enough, though, as I'm now, a stadium announcer for some football, I was thinking the other weekend, when was that last time I actually went to football as a punter and sat in like an end of a stand instead of bang smack in the middle of the halfway line? Because you take it for granted once you do it for a while. You take it for Peter granted. And this will sound very braggy, but I was watching the Falkirk highlights the other week, and I was like, oh, this is really boring. I've seen these already because I'm standing
the same point,
the level below.
And
it's like that Hampton Hospitality game. That was the first time I'd sat on a halfway line in forever. That was the first time I sat on a main stand in forever. Until the
it is a bit
Cup
different, I
games in the
suppose. Yeah.
summer. Just don't feel like a proper fan anymore. I'm not at the coalface anymore.
Nah, you're one of them now.
Where all the atmosphere is at the Cop End or Falkirk South Stand, they have the same the atmospheric feel. But no, I've just a thought of mine. What was the best game you've been to this year, Darren?
Even though they got beat, Everton versus Lyon, just because of the standard of football, really.
Lyon are playing. Oh no, that's a French game because Europa League and things is coming back now, isn't it?
Next week.
Lyon were a really good team, to be honest. In terms of football wise, though.
Well, they beat PSG in the league
last weekend.
Oh yeah, that's right. Aye, Memphis Depay last minute ago.
And I think Fekir. There was a really tricky. It was a free kick. It was like, you sneaky buggers. Really, really good.
Hit it under the wall or something.
Something like that. Oh, yeah. Who did we see hit it under the wall recently in the Premier League?
Coutinho? No, was that?
I think it was a Man City player. Was it De Bruyne?
De Bruyne, maybe, yeah.
Darren. Who drew at the weekend to Burnley. Was Scott Arfield playing in there, actually?
He was on the bench.
Not too sure.
Funny thing about that,
I don't think he came on, though.
was I was watching, how Everton got absolutely pumped at the weekend. And, they were talking about Michael Keane playing there. And he obviously moved big money from Burnley, who are at the top
different
league.
level. Yeah.
And you're thinking, these guys think they're moving to bigger clubs. I think this happens all
Doesn't
the time.
always happen, yeah.
And you can imagine, this season, people might have moved to, say, Partick Thistle from Kilmarnock. And, because of course that's the Burnley and Everton of our league, sadly. And, they've made a massive, massive mistake. So it's quite hard to actually judge your transfer moves.
Yeah. Because he's done really well for Burnley, Keane, but he's just not brought that form to Everton.
So much money. And Southampton spent, 20 million on someone I didn't really know that well as well. Pellegrini or something like that from Monaco.
All right, yeah.
It'll be interesting to see whether he pans out. And I was surprised that actually Aberdeen had some transfer deadline day activity as well. Stuart Cosgrove. Was it Stuart Cosgrove? I think I'm saying Stuart Cosgrove because of the commentator's name. Because they were talking on Sportsound about Richard Gordon buying an Aberdeen top with S. Cosgrove and giving it to the actual Stuart Cosgrove of the BBC.
All right.
Which would have been quite good. Sadly not to happen. But, hi. All very interesting in the Scottish League, and I hope you enjoyed that. Is there any other football anyone's been watching this week?
Not really. Been too busy.
Too busy.
I watched a bit of the. I've just been watching highlights really, mainly Man City yesterday, and I watched a bit of the Celtic game yesterday. Out with that, really just a bit of Spanish football and things. But Real Madrid had a draw against Levante.
I was initially watching that and turned away from it, and then came back and it was 1-0, and you're like, oh, for goodness sake. The 5 minutes you turn away. Blimmin' typical. Always. Anyway, John.
Yes.
What are we going to talk about now?
Is that our Akastaka?
Is that what we're calling it? Akastaka?
I don't know.
Akastaka.
This is still a work in progress after about 3 weeks.
I'll tell you, my other name idea was speculate to accumulator.
Okay.
Do you think that's a bit long?
We'll put it in the work in progress pile.
3 weeks later we might have it.
Stacker. Anyway, explain to us the premise of this feature of the show.
Right. So each of us are going to be picking 2 teams, or we have been picking 2 teams.
2 teams.
And from the 2 teams, 2 games, we shall pick our winners from those, or a draw, if you're feeling risky.
As I was last week.
As you were feeling last week. Bleach put £1 in, £3 accumulator on those 6 games, and we'll see how he gets on, or how it doesn't get on as it went last week.
Last week we were going to be up for £960, and I sensibly went for a midweek game.
Well, he went for the first game.
Well, yes,
which was a risk.
Which I then realised was quite a bad idea, because if we lost the first game, the whole thing would then be redundant. 'Tis the problem with accumulators, and I understand that. And we did go bust on that first Inverness Dundee game. Dundee won that 1-0. I thought it would be a draw, which was pretty close.
Pretty close. I mean, it was a draw at half time. It was a draw going well into the second half as well. Yeah, we were a wee bit unlucky. You seen Standard Liège 1-4-1 though, so.
Did they? Did I get that right?
You got that right.
Hey! Where else did we get let down?
Darren got the Hibs Rangers, went for a Rangers win.
Yeah. I see, that was like the banker. We were like, oh, Darren.
That's an easy one. It's like, it was Evans money as well, you're thinking. It's a done deal.
Yeah.
We did get Everton Leicester, which was a tight call.
Yeah, I was surprised at that one, to be honest.
That came through. I got the AC Milan Lazio draw correct midweek.
Mm-hmm. That was a good shot.
It was nothing each, but then Rapid Vienna drew with Austria Vienna this afternoon, which was a bit of a disaster. So we're 3 out of 6, which is not too bad. But, we'll see how we get on this week.
Yeah. So, Darren, do you want to go first and tell us who your fixtures are?
Yep, so the first fixture I went for was Tottenham versus Arsenal on Saturday, which is the midday kick-off, really. What was that?
North London derby.
Yes, yeah. So that's definitely a game I'm looking forward to seeing. I do think this will actually be a draw, to be honest.
It could well be. Arsenal look a lot better with their new front three.
Yeah, I know. The defence is still maybe
shaky
against the bigger teams a bit shaky. But then Tottenham, you never know what Tottenham's going to turn up at Wembley, really.
That's it. We'll see how they go on. That's a curious one.
Newport County go there midweek.
Midweek, I'm sure, yeah.
Crazy.
Brilliant for them, eh? A trip to Wembley. And then the second game I went for was Napoli versus Lazio on the Saturday night.
Battle of the Blues.
That's a big game at the top of Serie A.
Both of them are playing quite well, aren't they?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Napoli top of the league, Lazio are third,
yeah.
Just ahead of Roma.
The first time in Yonkies? In years and donkeys is what I've done. I combined those two Yonkies. For the first time in anyway. It would be the first time they've won that league in 10, 20, 30 years, something ridiculous.
It must have been since Maradona was playing for them. 80s.
Crazy.
Is that right, huh?
Every chance. I can't remember. There's just the huge dominance with the Milan teams.
Oh yeah,
Juventus.
definitely. Yeah.
Roma from time to time.
Roma never really won the league.
No, that's true, I guess.
Kind of sad. So, I love Italian football. It's just so relaxed watching.
The must win for Napoli, though.
I think Juventus are so close to them that I think Juventus, the pressures are beginning to show you. They don't have the quality they had last season. They tried to replace them like Douglas Costa. Dybala hasn't really sort of moved up.
He's went a bit quiet this season, hasn't he?
Been really quiet. He's not done much. Higuain just looks a fat mess. It's
still 90 rated in FIFA though.
I don't get it. He's so overrated. It's unbelievable.
Well, who are we predicting here then?
Well, I went for Napoli.
I would go for Napoli as well.
Yeah.
Well, it doesn't matter what you think. You're the one that's picked the game. I'm not inputting anything because I got so much abuse in the chat. Like, the rest of these come through, Paul. Yours £900. Banter.
Top bants.
Aye.
So yeah, that was my two fixtures. Look forward to the games.
Well, my first game is Cove Rangers versus the mighty Falkirk Bairns. Had to pick this. I believe it's going to be played. Well, it's the Scottish Cup games, of course, next week. I was undecided between this and Kilmarnock Brora, but I thought this would be a closer game since Falkirk were mince.
Yep.
Last weekend. We'll see how they do against Brecon midweek. But I think this will be an interesting game. I believe played at Inverurie Locos ground or something like that.
Yep.
Hashtag it's a long way to Inverurie. Chant, I'm going to try and get going. I'm not, of course, not going to go because if I were going, I would stop at Pittodrie and go to the Dundee United game instead. What are the odds for this one, John? Do you have them in front of you or something?
Falkirk were 47.
What's the odds for like a draw or a Cove win?
I can't remember.
I really want to boost Araka into something ridiculous, but I'm well aware if I do this every week, we'll never win any money.
I can't remember off the top of my head what it was. I knew Falkirk were 47. I left the house, but
do we think we could get away with a cheeky draw here?
Up to yourself.
It is Falkirk, so yeah, good chance.
It is your game after all.
I'm going to have to be boring and go for a Falkirk win. But I know if I went for a Cove draw, we would get ridiculous odds, and the accumulator would be far more exciting. So I'm sorry about that. Elsewhere, my other game in Serie B, sticking with the Italian feel.
All right,
I love Serie B. It's a very relaxed.
Well, I watch it all the time.
Yes. Sadly not. Although, do you know what? I remember in years going by, I did used to watch some League 2 games on YouTube.
All right,
Which were incredibly well covered. I don't know why. But my game in Serie B is Barry versus Frosinone. And of course, I've picked Barry because of the great Liam Henderson. Now playing, he came on last week in a 3-1 defeat to no other than Venice. So I'm sure he got a wee gondola onto the pitch or something like that. Venezia? I don't know where they would play.
Is it Venezia rather than
Venezia,
Venice?
Yes.
Nah, they don't play in Venice.
Okay, anyway, I'm going to pretend it's Venice. Because my gondola joke doesn't work otherwise. I'm sure. Where would you play in Venice? It'd be a spectacular stadium.
They have a team, but I can't remember what they're called. But it's not Venezia though. I'm sure they play near Milan.
Canal Street or whatever. So they've been struggling recently. 3-1. They got beat by Empoli 4-0. And drew 1 each with some aeroplane manufacturer Cessna the week before. So I know that from my FIFA career mode experience with Chiavari, who are known as something else because they're not a licensed team in FIFA.
Virtus Entella.
Virtus Entella, there you go. This guy.
This guy knows.
I know that Frosinone are actually quite a good side. So, my pick for this game, even though the mighty Liam Henderson plays, is Frosinone. Sounds like Italian yogurt, but I'm pretty sure that's not what it is.
A narrow game.
So that's my pick.
Good pick, actually.
Very exotic.
How's it more exotic than Lazio against Napoli? I gave you loads of good stats there. That was.
John's just getting worried. You got to show him up.
Nah. No hassle.
In the first week when we had the flipping Jamaican derby, and I had to Photoshop a picture of Kenny Duker with some Rastafarian dreadlocks, which looked hideous, by the way. It just didn't look right.
The colours did more.
No. The clashing was the least of our problems.
You should have watched it on a live stream or something.
Bet on it? How can you bet on that?
Bet on whatever you like. That's all proof.
How can you do that, John? Oh, here we go. Right, what we got down, John?
The first one's a straightforward one. It's the DFB Pokal quarterfinals this weekend.
John's using his German twang because he is actually learning German. I was like, DFB? Where's that come from? DFB?
DFB. Eintracht Frankfurt versus Mainz 05.
Mainz is, of course, my famous German team. I beat a FIFA pro at a friend's house by sheer luck. Going all out defensive, went all out attack for 5 minutes and got a goal. Hashtag FIFA is broken.
Yeah. Very interesting. I mean, Frankfurt are only 2 points off second, but they're sixth in the league.
Really?
So there's them, Dortmund, Schalke.
It's so close, yeah.
Who else is up there? Someone else is up there as well. Really, really tight.
München? Was it München?
Might not, can't remember. And then Augsburg, of all teams, are just behind them. Who they got beat 3-0 this afternoon.
Yeah.
Which is a bit of disaster for them. So we'll see how they get on. They actually needed extra time to get past Heidelheim of Bundesliga 2 in the sort of round 3. They actually made it to the final last season. They lost 2-1 to Dortmund in the Stadio Olimpico.
I remember Dortmund being in the final, yeah.
Last one in 1988, which seems a long time ago for a club the size of Frankfurt to win a kind of trophy.
I know.
Mainz, on the other hand, they beat Stuttgart 3-1 at home in the previous round, which is a big result, considering Mainz are actually 16th in the league. So in the relegation playoff spot.
Yeah, they're struggling this season.
Which isn't good, yeah.
Beat by Bayern Munich last week.
Got humped this weekend as well. So we'll see how they get on. They've actually never made it to a final. Never. Last sort of major appearance was a semi-final back in 2009. So we'll see how they get on. I mean, they always picked Eintracht. I think we'll go for them to win. Quite comfortably, actually. I might sneak on a cheeky -1.
Yeah. I'm looking at the teams to see if I recognise any names.
I think Severovic is still there for Frankfurt.
I don't know. I've got Kevin
Prince
Boateng, yeah. And Jethro Willems.
He rings a bell.
Was I think fast in FIFA.
Yeah.
So I'm surprised. I used to be so into the Bundesliga highlights and I just never watched them anymore.
I've not watched it as much this season. No.
Used to watch them
But
on ITV4.
Yeah, I
Bundesliga's
don't think
good.
it's as compelling this season, really.
My next trip out to the Bundesliga.
Well, the Bundesliga 1 or 2.
I'm trying to do both.
I do both, that's quite good.
If not, I'm going to end up in Prague,
Prague would be good.
Sparta, and then Dynamo Dresden. But we'll see how we get on. I organise my shifts. That's the issue.
We'll get back to
That's
you.
a personal point.
The Sofa Manager travels and see if that happens.
Update soon.
Yes. Yeah.
Our final game's a big game in Sudamerica.
Oh,
It's the
he's not been learning that language.
Superliga final.
Right.
Against, it's Atlético Nacional versus Millonarios of Colombia. I do wish I could tell you a little bit more.
There's nothing.
That is all.
I couldn't find anything. I couldn't find even odds, which is an issue. I know they will come up. They will come up because it's,
I know what you mean.
2 hours before.
Yeah, but if it's not like a couple of days ahead for the really obscure
Yeah.
stuff, it's not gonna.
it's never going to be there because there's games that effectively kick off tonight at midnight
All right.
in Colombia, so they can't do the odds. Or that's
You've got to be drugged up to watch those. Like,
who.
shh.
But this is actually 2 legs. It's an interesting way of doing
2
it.
legs.
Rather than just being a kind of neutral final, a lot of South Americans do 2-legged finals, home and
So,
away.
is that another way we used to do things? Was like over 2 legs and stuff like that. Or if it
Not
was a
here.
draw, we'd go to a replay.
They would
Instead
go to a
of
replay if it's a
A
draw.
replay, yeah.
Classic, good times.
It's the only way Falkirk ever win something. Scottish Cup final went to a replay,
Did it?
1957.
And they haven't won anything since.
That's why this cup replays.
We're actually talking at the weekend, and none of us could remember if the Challenge Cup final had been played or not. And turns out
Yeah.
we're still at the semi-final stage, and I was like, that's been shut down for ages now.
Kicks up again in
It
April.
does.
No, the final was in April.
So I think it's Inverness against Crusaders or TNS, and Crusaders against
Dumbarton.
Dumbarton, aye. So that could be a really weird final. Where's it played, actually? We cannot have Crusaders TNS at the Amundvale.
No, they'll play it at like Stranraer or something like that because it's easy for the ferry.
How do they play it? Stranraer?
They would.
They must have the Amundvale booked. See if that
Why
happens.
would they do it at Amaville?
Well, that's where they usually do it,
No,
isn't
they
it?
don't. They
Yeah,
move it
do.
around.
Do they?
Yeah.
I thought it's been in the Amundvale, usually.
No, they move it around, yeah.
Falkirk have won it. I've seen them play. They won it at Middermott against Ross County. That was 04-05. And then they won it at Amaville. They've played a fair few at Motherwell,
Mhm.
of all
That's a bit
places.
safer, but
They could play at Kilmarnock. That would probably work quite well.
Find out.
If you've got a team for Wales and a team for Northern Ireland.
Kilmarnock. It's not used to my east. Because
How?
it's not on the main motorway coming up. It's like,
How's it no? You just, for all the people coming over from Belfast and get the ferry,
God, they're not getting the ferry.
why would they not?
Challenge
And even if you want to fly, you can go to Prestwick.
Cup for a game that none of them care about. Right, Scottish Challenge Cup final 2018. Bear with us.
It won't tell you.
Oh, it's to be drawn.
yeah,
We've not
probably.
worked that out yet.
They just need to listen to me. That's
Where's it going to be played? Come on.
it's a neutral. Oh,
I know it's a neutral ground, but they must have it booked already, surely.
no,
It's
Why?
final April, you
because
said.
they don't know who's going to be playing.
No, but you book the venue, get a wee early bird discount. Come on, this is where the SFA are going wrong, John. Anyway, I'll probably be at some dance hall somewhere. It'll be a terrible event.
I'll just toss a coin in the Irish Sea. Play at the Isle of Man. There you go. That's
Can we not
halfway.
get one of those aircraft carriers? Just put a wee bit of Astro down. That would attract attention.
A hovercraft.
Yes.
Just at the top bit. and
Anyway,
hover.
sorry, I interrupted you mid-flow about your Colombian game.
No, it's fine. Atletico Nacional will win this.
Cool. So I think that about rounds us off for this week then.
Absolutely.
We don't know what the value of the accumulator is yet.
Nope, but you'll need to read it on the website.
Yes, that'll be updated on sofamanager.com.
That'll be written up tomorrow.
And if you have enjoyed the podcast, don't forget to follow us on all our social media feeds at Sofa Manager. I can't believe we've actually got all those aliases. On Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook, on Mixcloud, and Sofa Space Manager on YouTube, which might still be down as Paul Funnyman 93, but ignore that name. Some bampot came up with that years ago.
Aye.
Anyway, so thanks for listening from me, Paul,
Thanks for listening, everyone, from Darren.
Cheers, guys.
and have a good evening, a good afternoon, and a good morning. Bye bye. I think we're ready to go. Are we ready to go?
Yeah, why not?
Baby, I'm ready to go. It's losing me now. I'm just like, ah!
Flying.
There's so much sugar in Copper Bear.
Oh, aye, yeah, definitely.
Very sweet. I feel I should drink something more manly.
You recording?
Yes, I am recording. I can put this in at the end. What's your manly cocktail of choice, John?
Manly cocktail.
Manly cocktail. Because if you go to a
Can
cocktail
you get
bar,
a manly cocktail?
well, no, but like if you go to a cocktail bar, you have to have something.
Yeah, maybe a Bahama Mama.
A Bahama Mama.
Yeah, they're good.
Is that the person you've gone to the cocktail bar with, or the drink you're having?
That's how I'm feeling after. Though.
Hey! No idea what that means. Darren, what's your choice at a cocktail bar?
Sex and Invasion, no, Joe.
That what you're having? Or? Oh, hey.
Cheeky Vimto.
Cheeky Vimto.
Vimto.
I like them, by the way. Cheeky Vimto.
Vimto. It's drank by Mark Stone. No. See, I've not had a coffee cocktail in a wee while.
Oh, right,
No,
right.
no.
An espresso martini.
They're not
or
the
something.
same, though, I think.
Do you not think? I'm not a big cocktail man, so